when niggas start talking about trade school, any fucking time a black person bring up black children going to college, that really just lets me know what type of niggas y'all is. Because number one, most trade school jobs are labor heavy as fuck. Like, I don't know why y'all be saying that or why y'all would even wish that on somebody, but most fucking trade schools are laborious as fuck. If you getting your truck driving license, nigga, you're gonna be doing labor. If you go to cosmetology school, you're gonna be doing labor. If you go to school for welding, you're going to be doing fucking labor. Like, why are y'all trying to encourage these kids to get these labor heavy ass jobs? And like, that's the only thing that come to mind anytime somebody bring up college, especially with black kids. Y'all don't ever fucking tell these Mexican kids or these white kids or any of these other fucking kids, yeah, go get a trade. You never hear niggas say that. Have y'all ever thought that maybe niggas want to be something other than a truck driver? Maybe bitches want to do something other than hair. Like, stop being so fucking dense. If a child has in their mind what they want to be when they grow up, if they know, not all children know, but if they know, 9 times out of 10, if it's not none of the shit I just named, you're going to have to go to college for it and you're going to have to learn something. So when y'all get in my comments talking that bullshit, oh, there are other ways to learn outside of college. No shit, Sherlock. No shit. But I'm also not going to encourage a young black child to go do labor heavy ass work when they can go get their degree and sit at the desk and make the same amount of money. Like, are y'all really for the people? Or do y'all just be saying shit because y'all hear other people say it? Like, there are other options for kids other than trade school. There are other options in college. There are. But stop acting dense like that shit don't matter. Oh, go get a trade. You can go get a certificate. You can go get all of that. You only going to make it so far with that. Niggas only make it so far with degrees. How far do you think you're going to get without one? Like, just stop. Stop trying to diminish something that y'all never took part in and y'all never participated in, so y'all never understand. Please fucking stop.
You know, this is complete madness. And I played the video for a reason, because she cut off her comment section and then she did not allow us to be able to stitch the video. So what I did was download the video and I want you to see it in its entirety. Now, I would never discourage a young person from going to trade school. When I was coming up, mainly like in the 70s, we had after school jobs where we can work 4 hours after we get out of school. They also had during summertime through CETA, summer job programs, which we attended BOCES, a trade school, and we learned a trade of our choice, be it mechanics, electronics. She mentioned hair. So whatever trade you chose to get into, plumbing, welding, those are all trades. And to this day, it benefits me whenever I need to fix my car. In many cases, I may do it myself. If I need to do work around my house, sometimes if I feel like it, I do it myself because I have those skills, I have that trade. So I would never knock a young person going to trade school. As a matter of fact, during COVID, the ones that were making money were the electricians. When you needed your car fixed, you had to go to a mechanic. Yes, it's labor. So what this young lady is saying, that she don't want to work. She just thinks things are going to come to her. It's going to be handed to her. If she get a degree, she's going to be okay. She don't have to work, AKA labor, which there's a lot of people that have degrees and they can brag on having a master's degree, having a PhD or a doctorate degree or an associate degree. I have a degree. But they are not working in that field. 9 times out of 10, they are not working in the field that they spent all of that money to go to college for. And in many cases, the only thing going to college or getting a degree says is that you are capable of learning. But most people, when they go to college, they get degrees outside of the field that they're actually going to work in. See, when I came up, I went to trade school. I went to BOCES during the summer job program for carpentry. Later, I went into the military. And then after the military, I went to college. But when I went to college, I studied psychology, which was the field I was working in. Counseling, ministry, things of that nature. So I actually used what I was going to school for. I specifically went for psychology because that was the field I was working in. I just didn't go just for the sake of saying I have a degree or I went to college, which is a mistake that I see a lot of young people make to this very day. So I would never knock a trade or a skill because these are things that's going to go with you throughout life, man. When everything else is shut down, you're still going to need a mechanic. You're still going to need an electrician. You're still going to need a carpenter. You're still going to need a plumber or welder. Those are trades. And I would never knock those trade skills because they are needed. They are essential to our everyday life. So when everything else was shut down, you still need to get around in your vehicle. You needed a mechanic. Those are trades. So she ignorantly, with all due respect, she ignorantly went on a rage, telling young people and telling adults not to encourage young people to get a trade or a skill. I encourage that 210%. As a matter of fact, I encourage a trade over a college degree. Unless there's something that you're working in, you're specializing in that requires a college degree, I would always recommend getting a trade. It's less expensive. You're actually working in that field, so it's not like just strict book knowledge, because when I went to BOCES, man, it's like we actually built things, man. We did roofing. We built structures of a house. As a matter of fact, I built a little house, which later somebody bought as a dog house. Had a roof, everything. We did the roof, everything that you would do on a roof, we did that. We did everything, right? So we learned how to do the electric in the house, like how to wire the house up and all that. Yeah. So I would never knock a trade. Go to school, go to trade school, get a certificate if you need that. And then if you choose to later go to college and then go to college to specialize in that field, if they offering that, then I would recommend that. But to have working knowledge, man, electronics, nowadays IT, plumbing, these are things that we need. When everything else shuts down, we still need a plumber. We still need an electrician. We still need a mechanic. All of these things were still, and they made a fortune during COVID. When everything else was shut down, they were able to charge a fortune, and they never went down on those prices. Go get your car fixed and see how much you're going to pay. As a matter of fact, I have to take my car in tomorrow for a whole new subframe. And that cost, right? So don't ever knock that, man, because there's money in that. And when it comes to doing hair and nails, there's a lot of things that black women or women in general love to do. You do that. It's easy. It's not hard. I wouldn't call that laborious work. I think the hardest thing with dealing with hair and nails and that kind of stuff is dealing with the people themselves, right? But if you look at the average, especially in the so-called Black American community, education is not really pushed like it was when I was coming up. When I was coming up in time, education was pushed. It was at the forefront. When we got home from school, just high school, when we got home from school, we had to do our homework. We had to do our chores before we could even go outside to play. And after that was done, then we went outside, and then when we came in, we had to take our showers and get ready, prepare to go to school the next day. We were pushed to go to school to get that basic learning. But nowadays, man, we're dealing with a whole different generation with a different mindset that don't even want to go to school. You skip classes, man, or you do and then now you have the school system that's kind of just pushing you through. They're pushing you through the system. Just show up and we'll pass you. And you wonder why so many, especially in the Black community, graduate with a high school diploma. And then even then you get out there and act a fool during graduation ceremonies just to be able to work in fast food. And there's nothing wrong with working in fast food, but I did that stuff, man. That was an after school job. When I was in high school, that was an after school job, or maintenance, after school job, right? But if you need a skill, then I always would recommend young people to go to a trade school. Go to BOCES, man. BOCES is not as cheap as it was when I was going, okay? And I didn't pay. I didn't pay because they had programs in the hood that took care of that. All you had to do was pass, and then we had a job guaranteed to us where we actually worked in that field. So I worked where they were revamping old houses and whatnot, man. And, and it was rewarding. And this was before I went into the military. I went into the military when I was 18 years old. So these are like skills that I picked up very young. Home ec, I took home ec. Now, men didn't really take home ec, but there's some of us that took home ec because of the women, and because every time we walked past the home ec class, it always smelled like brownies and food. So that was the class to take. But I took home ec, I took auto mechanic, I took welding, and this was in school, which they don't even offer that now in high school, right? So don't ever not trade, go to trade, go get a trade or a skill or something, because that's going to carry you throughout life. You're going to always use that. And I use it even to this very day. And if I don't feel like doing it, then I'll hire somebody outside to do it that went a little further than me, that's actually working in that field. But yeah, you're going to need an electrician and a plumber, and a carpenter. You're going to need that stuff, man. So I would never frown on that. These are people that's going to always be employed. They're going to always have constant income coming into them. And it's no thing for them to not just work for someone else, but start their own job, man. Just do that on the side and make money. So don't ever knock that, man. I would never knock a young person going to trade school. Go to trade school. If you don't have the funds to go to college, go to trade school, because that's like working hands. You're not just getting book knowledge, but you're working in that, So I would highly recommend it. I wouldn't take this young lady's advice. She had not even lived long enough herself to give that kind of advice. But I'm a product of a trade school, because I went to a trade school when I was young, and then ended up going in the military. And then after the military, I went to college. But when I went to college, it was for a field that I was already working in. I had working knowledge of that, so I was able to use that, right? Most young people now just go to college just for the sake of going. And you ask them what they want to do, or unless you get into the medical field, which I think right now is being overflooded, man. There's going to be a problem later on with the medical field, because there's too many young people going to college and going to medical school, So sometimes it's a little bit too much of everything. But when it comes to a skill or a trade, even those doctors and those lawyers need a plumber, need an electrician. They're going to need a carpenter or a mechanic, and then you're going to have to pay what they tell you that you have to pay to get your car fixed or to get your house rewired, right? So don't ever frown on that.